voice to me was breaking in between.
Okay. Okay. Now, is it okay?
Yeah.
Right. So, ladies, start, this discussions. It's basically, free and frank, discussions, and in between, we'll be, trying to get a lot of questions from different parts, including, the participants, and we'll be trying to answer, the questions, whenever it will be possible. So, I'll be requesting, Dr. Patnaik, to start, with you. And if you say something, about this, the future of this particular, domain, this paramedical and allied health sciences, and what is that prospect of this particular domain? If you tell a few words, in maybe in 5 or 6 minutes time.
Well, all my life in medical career of 35 years, I have worked in close contact with paramedicals, starting from the ambulance assistant to the. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
In the ward nursing assistant, in the OT, the operating room technician, the pharmacist, in ICU, the technicians. So all my life I have worked in close contact and close friendship with the paramedicals. They are the most important partners of the doctor who is delivering the healthcare. As it is said, the surgeon is as capable as his assistants. So we depend upon the paramedical for such a great extent that patient is practically left to them after you do the operation or even while doing operation. At the same breath, I must say, they are the most neglected lot, at least in this country. They are very meagerly paid, and they do not have a proper organization. They depend mostly upon the doctor with whom they work. In private practice, the very good practitioners can look after them, giving them additional revenue or remuneration. But in a government service, you hardly can do anything and accept a thanks or a smile or a gift in the Diwali or in child's birthday. Hardly I have given them, but I have given them a lot of gali when they do something wrong. So my heart goes to paramedicals actually. They don't get what they deserve. And we also, medical fraternity, I'm not talking about the nursing, I'm not talking about the physiotherapist, I'm talking another 24 or 25 streams, starting from the endoscopy assistant, cath lab technician, ICU technician, pre-hospital caregivers, all kind of ophthalmological assistants, the speech therapist. So all kind of paramedicals who work shoulder to shoulder with us, they are a neglected lot. They are a uncared for lot, and their service should be better recognized and their pay should be better, at least those who are in the fixed salary sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Patnaik, for your views on this particular domain of this medical profession or paramedical professions. And you rightly said that till now, in case of in India, this profession is a bit neglected. But if you see, that the developed countries like US and UK and all, you will find that the scenario is totally different. And it is a myth that that whatever it in practice in upper countries like in the US and UK, we adopt the same thing maybe after 20 or 25 years. So I think it is a high time that India should pick up, and there is a huge need of this kind of skilled manpower. This profession is really have a lot of contributions in medical field. If I see that healthcare is one of the fastest growing industry across the globe. The same is in case of India, and it is considered one of the sunrise industries. So if you see that the growth parameter and its rate of growth, it is just almost say 30 or 13 to 15% annual growth rate. So if you see this growth rate, and I'm very sure within maybe a decade, healthcare will be one of the what I can say biggest sector in this entire world, and India is will be the one of the important player in terms of its skilled manpower. So we hope for the best for this particular profession, and I am very sure that in coming days a lot of regulatory framework will be in place, and ultimately this profession will get the momentum. So let's see, let me get the view from Dr. Paul, Dr. Ritesh Chandrapal. So Dr. Paul, what is your opinion on this particular domain, that allied health science and paramedical health science? Dr. Paul, you're muted. Yeah, please. Yeah, now it's fine.
So I'll share my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. First, let me congratulate ABP Education for giving me the opportunity of sharing in this beautiful platform. So, let me introduce. I am an ophthalmologist. I am an ophthalmologist. So we started this organization in 1998 in Kolkata. These are the 7 locations we are working. Our main objective was to reach those who are not reaching to us, irrespective of any social strata. So coming into this, if we go our website, this Shushruth.org, I will be sharing this in brief. So, yeah. So in our website, you will have this training. One, if you have any inquiry, you can put it over here, your name, specification, email, country, address, etc. You will get an instant reply. Now, if I go to category, today's subject is basically the technical course. So if I go to technical course, I will go one by one what exactly is happening. So this is in nutshell. If we go for the one is Vision Assistant by National Skill Development Center, New Delhi. Another is Eye Mitra Optician by our Technical University, Maulana Abul Kalam Azam University of Technology. Then operating theatre technician, medical equipment technician, OCTC, and anesthesia technician. And definitely comes master in hospital administration. That's course we are running. Apart from that, the other courses are there. This is diploma in optometry, masters in optometry, and internship and fellowship in optometry. So in short, if I go in narration, diploma in optometry, one of the very popular course to us. We do get every 30 students every year. This is a 2.5 year course. It is run by the West Bengal Health Faculty, and I can vouch you, each and every student is being absorbed either in job or in self-employment in running their business. Now, this is like an B school. Some of the optometry institute may not have the eye hospital. So they do come to us for fellowship and internship, and that has also too popular in program. Same applies to master in optometry. This is an advanced course than your bachelor of optometry, advancement in optometry and the training program that goes for, this is again in 2 years course. This is by MAKOUT, means Local Technical University. Most important course is, this is our one of the achievement, this is Vision Assistant. I will highlight this is an 1 year duration course that is run by both NSDC and MAKOUT. In fact, the difference between the NSDC and the MAKOUT is this: NSDC goes for 12, 10 plus 2 plus science, and in case of MAKOUT, this is any stream can go for. But first of all, this is a self-employment scheme. This is in 1 year course, the students taught basics of eye and the refraction, and they can go as in 3 tier, 3rd tier. In the block level and the semi-block level, they can open a shop and they can join the social service and the referral practice. And apart from job, either in the private sector, charity sector, corporate sector, they can have a self-employment scheme. So this is very popular course. I can vouch after doing this course, if someone wish, they can earn 40, 50, 60,000 rupees per month. It is minimum. That same is the Eye Mitra Optician, this Vision Assistant course. This is operating theatre technician. From our experience of last 23 years, we have trained around 40,000 plus, people, including ophthalmologist, optometrist, and the different paramedical course. And in the part of the Eastern India, we are definitely an eye care institute. So wherever we do go from any corner, we find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is being trained over here. So this is one of the course, this operating theatre technician, those who are being employed into the eye operation theatre. The same applies to, this is a huge opportunity, the medical equipment technician. This is biomedical technician course. This is covered by NSDC. This is a 6 months course. This is again in self-employment. Ophthalmology, you must be knowing lots of gadgets are there. So that requires a kind of maintenance. So even the MNCs, they do ask for us that who are the people who can go for these jobs, and of course the hospital and the private practitioner, and they also can go for freelancing. This is another course. This is, we call it OCTC. This is nothing but these people are being trained for any stream of the 12th pass. They can go for running into the OPD, diagnostic in the various departments in any kind of state of the eye care service. Same applies to anesthesia technician. You must be knowing, there is a group in ocular anesthesia. This is mainly the local anesthesia. So under the guidance of we run in volume. So in each and every hospital or each and every setup, we need some paramedical, those who are qualified enough under the guidance of an anesthetist, they can work. There is a huge opportunity. That is also a 12 pass science course eligibility criteria and 6 months course. And of course, I won't be talking that much on Master of Hospital Administration. This is known. This is, here it is run by the West Bengal University of the Health Science. When we run, 15% of the professionals we do require for managers in the eye care delivery system. So this is also a popular course. So while narrating this paramedical course, I will just highlight here, this is something post-graduations of the ophthalmology, some fellowship, some short-term, long-term, both national, international, etc. These are running. So with these few words, I thanking you all. I will be ready to answer you any questions. So thank you again, ABP Education and all the audience. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Paul, for your presentations as well as what are the different programs you are running at this present time. You have narrated it there. Let me understand the next part that is this paramedical and allied healthcare. So Dr. Banerjee, my next questions to you. Do you think is there any difference between paramedical and allied healthcare? In fact, Dr. Paul has been mentioned that hospital administrations has also been there, and probably they are putting this hospital administrations or hospital management in paramedical science. So, do you think that this hospital management is also coming under paramedical or allied kind of healthcare, and is it justified? Dr. Banerjee.
Good afternoon. Yeah, actually, the thing is yes, in the healthcare, if we consider these paramedical courses like laboratory technologies and diabetic care, critical care, OT, these things are definitely important. But at the same time, the allied healthcare I think is a broader aspect. I mean, not only the technical, purely technical, but at the same time, little bit of supervision, administration, those also include. So, allied healthcare is also important because people who are working at the bench level, that is very important. But at the same time, supervision and overall management and operational aspect to check those some administrative works and supervisory parts. So those kind of some PhD or some certificate course or some administration, business administration or healthcare administration, those things are also required. So we can consider those courses also simultaneously.
Right, right. So these things, that I was just going through one, website of Government of India. That very recently they came up with one particular bill, that allied medical science bill, and in that particular bill they are putting all these say certificate programs or maybe say the skill development programs in this paramedical science. But this hospital management and other things they're putting it's separated. Even if you see that West Bengal government that they have newly opened up one council. What is that the name of the council? I can tell you that that the name of the council is West Bengal Allied Medical and Paramedical Council. In the paramedical council, they have not included this kind of programs. Even say for example, even the bachelor degree of optometry, which is very popular course. I think Paul will agree with me. But bachelor of optometry is also not included in that particular council. Maybe a separate council is supposed to come and in place. And that was in the news also that there will be a central council for optometry, and probably that has been excluded. Anyway, so this is very good, to know that these things is going, a momentum, is getting a momentum, and maybe in the coming days, these courses will be getting that, proper recognitions. And at present, what we understand, because of maybe a regulatory, absence of any regulatory body, like in medical science, probably will be agreed that in medical science there is the MCI, there is Medical Council of India, and in nursing cases you'll find that that the Nursing Council of India. But unlike that, MCI or INC, you'll not find any kind of a regulatory body for this particular paramedical science or health sciences, and probably that is one of the maybe important issue why this course is neglected. As just that Dr. Patnaik has just said that it is really a neglected part. And maybe I think because of that reason only, maybe it is to some extent neglected in maybe in some part of India. But I'll not say total India. If you go in say Mumbai or in Gujarat or maybe in the southern part of India, so that courses are very popular. And anyway, so let me we'll go to Dr. Das next. Dr. Das is an expert in pharmaceutical technology. So we'll learn from him what are the different future of this particular paramedical sciences, and how you are tackling this these things these particular programs in your university in Adams.
Thank you, Professor, sir. First of all, I would like to thank my university, Adams University, and ABP Education, to give me this platform to put my own views. First of all, I would. Am I audible to all?
Yes, you're audible.
First thing I would like to say that with a small note that doctor give life to a patient, we paramedics give life to the healthcare sector. This is absolutely everybody has to accept this fact. Today, our Indian healthcare system largely depends upon doctors and nurses, but who is providing the back support to our doctors and to our nurses? Now, the current pandemic situation that we all are going through is a very eye-opener for all of us. And we are finding it very difficult to get our reports on time, to get the investigations done on time. Why? Because we lack good number of paramedics and allied health worker in this particular subsector of medical science. now to begin with, I personally belong from pharmaceutical technology, and I am a registered pharmacist. And rightly said by Professor Patnaik sir that allied health science or paramedics are highly neglected in India. That's for sure. But if we consider that the entire paramedics or entire paramedical science people, they hold a very important position in the healthcare management system. Why? As the physicians are heavily dependent upon the diagnostic results that is coming from the patients. And who is actually collecting all the blood samples, all the stool samples, urine samples, and any other etc. samples that is being collected from the patients? It is the paramedics and the allied health workers. Until and unless they are providing those reports, how the treatment protocol will be decided by the physician. So all the entire healthcare system, the doctors, the nurses, they are heavily dependent upon these paramedics. And this fact cannot be denied at all. And moreover, there is a huge gap between supply and demand. And if I quote a report of 2016 WHO, World Health Organization, it has been said that it has been found rather in Indian context that for every 10,000 patients, there is only 22.8 skilled healthcare professionals. So this is the scenario for today's healthcare system in India. And on the top of that, these allied health and paramedics, they are not getting enough encouragement from government sectors. And we are highly neglected lot. It cannot be denied. Either it be from the salary sector, either it be from recognition part, we are highly neglected, which the scenario should not be. We should be given more chances at par with the physicians. We know some of the medical subjects, we have the knowledge of medicine, but we are not given the right to diagnose or to write prescription. That's all right, because we are from a different sector and the physicians are from different sectors. But the overall scenario is that we should be given a very good chance at par with that of the other professionals that are working in our Indian health sector. Now, when I talk about today's topic called paramedical and allied health science, critical care and critical role, I must say that our healthcare system is in a very critical situation. And mind my word, we must be prepared for the next pandemic that might come to this earth within 50 years or so. Yesterday, I was looking at a report given by the Director General of WHO, and he said that the world must be ready for the next pandemic that is going to get attacked. Mm-hmm. So the thing is that we need a very wide scale preparation from doctor physician side, from the paramedic side. If we do not increase the strength of the paramedics in India or from Indian context, then the next pandemic, when it will hit, it will be a disaster. Means believe you me, it will be a disaster. Now, if I talk about the different courses of paramedics, it is a very wide. It encompasses different type of subjects. As Dr. Ratish sir was talking about that, it encompasses your X-ray diagnostic, then optometrists, then your microbiologist, pathologist, all the professionals, they must be included in our common healthcare sector. They must be given a chance at par with the physicians and the nurses to work in shoulder to shoulder to take our healthcare system forward. Now at Adamas, we have introduced for the first time a BMLT course. This year we are starting with, and we are seeking, we are looking for good, bright mind, so that they can come here and they can learn about BMLT. We are having a 3-year BMLT course here with 6 months of intensive training, with the hope that we can capture the need of the modern healthcare system for the modern society, so that we can produce a better healthcare worker for our society in the coming years or so. Until and unless we do that, we will not be able to counteract the next pandemic or next type of any type of this such situation that we are facing today in the form of COVID-19. And this COVID-19 is a very good eye opener that we, the allied healthcares, and we, the pharmacists, is an important sector of healthcare system. This is what I want to put forward through ABP Education. Thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Das. That it is really, you have said, you have mentioned that, that the world should be ready for the next, pandemic. That was the thing, that the Director General of WHO mentioned yesterday. And really, correct that India is such a big country where we are having a population of more than 1.32 billion, and the population density is again a threat for us. For any kind of pandemicity or pandemic disease, this density is the what I can say, it is a challenge for every nation to manage any kind of pandemic or any diseases. So in this particular situation, I was just going through one one article of McKinsey. That McKinsey has mentioned that due to this COVID situation, the growth rate of healthcare industry has gone maybe 1 or 2 fold extra. So that means that the healthcare industry will be growing faster due to this pandemicity. Now the question is that there is no doubt that paramedical staffs or paramedical professionals has very pivotal role in this healthcare delivery system. But unfortunately, as we all agree that maybe that because of some reason or other that there is no what I can say framework for in the entire country for the development of this particular program. So what we should foresee that in coming days that maybe there will be some kind of regulatory body, and maybe that regulatory body will be giving emphasis on standard on what I can say regular curriculum, and maybe there be an entrance kind of test, that means entrance as well as there be a uniform exit kind of system, this examination system. And this uniformity may be one of the very crucial or important tools that can improve that entire medical sciences. So my next questions to Dr. Patnaik. So Dr. Patnaik, you have rightly mentioned that it is it's neglected. So what is your suggestion? How we should improve this particular paramedical professionals in terms of their working environment, in terms of their that what I can say, that remuneration part or financial aspects. So I think that the government should have some kind of notions that they should develop this particular professionals in coming days. So Dr. Patnaik, I'll be delighted to know from you that what are the different things we should implement in coming days, or what are the different suggestions we can give it to the government, the health ministry, to develop this particular domain of peoples who are really essential in medical.
Before answering your question, I must say that when I address paramedical, I cover all from the radiology technician to PMLT or lab technician, everybody. Okay, so there are 24 or 27 streams. I am covering everybody. I may not have taken anybody's name. I see many asking in the chat box, sir, what about radiology? What about ENT? What about pharmacists? Yes, nursing council is different. I will say they are a little more organized. They have a nursing council of India. But the paramedical council of India, we have a society, we have a council, but that is not strong enough. That should be strengthened, and more branches or more such institutions must be opened, depending upon the need. There is a need of 64 lakhs of paramedics in coming few years. We are not even 50% of that. Number two, the other side of the coin is leaving about very few paramedical institutions. There are many substandard paramedical training institutions in the country which are stand-alone. They do not have proper teachers. So many of the paramedicals which come to us, they are totally raw. We have to teach them from the ABCD. That is the other side of the coin. So my suggestion is, instead of stand-alone paramedical institutions, they should be opened along with the medical college, by the side of the medical college, so that pari passu their theoretical education, they should also learn the practical aspect inside the hospital and grow along with the doctors. Third point I wanted to tell you, the paramedics who are good at their technique, those who are sincere, they have got tricks in their hand. They are picked up by the cardiologists or nephrologists or the surgeons. They won't normally leave you. They develop dependability and trust of their surgeon or the gastroenterologist or nephrologist, and they do not leave them. So, and they don't mind paying him much better remuneration apart from the government salary. These are the few thoughts I wanted to take.
Right. So, see, I can see on the chat box there is one question that someone has asked, although he not mentioned his name. He mentioned that, sir, why you are called, technician? Why not it is a medical, technologist? So, Dr. Pal, if you just answer this question. So the question is, probably you can see in the, question answer, box, it is written that why, it is technician and not medical technologist.
Honestly speaking, I may not be the right person because I am not the legal authority that what implicates is this medical technologist or medical technician. But one point going forward of this discussion about the salary, about the utility, about the necessity. My particular experience definitely limited to ophthalmology only, ophtha care, eye care. Most of the subjects which are running, we are being associated. I told you, these are, if someone wants, that are self-employed course. Self-employed means, suppose the optician can run his business or her business. Suppose a biomedical technician can run his or her business. So the main focus, until and unless, apart from criticizing or whatever to be done in future, like our Western country, at least in India we can do that, we can go forward. Number one, maintaining the standard of the teaching training, and number two, how really we can generate more self-employment so that the people can earn. This is the typical solution. And I beg apology because I am not the right competent authority to say this technician or the technologist. To me it means nothing. It's almost same.
Yeah, right. But thing is that as per the government of West Bengal, there is a regulations of 1982, and that regulation says that the name should be medical technologist, not technician. So technician, maybe both may be same, but in colloquial language you'll find the technician is seems to be some kind of inferior kind of things. But days has come, we should also change ourselves, and we should call them medical technologist because it sounds good, and that actually helps a person to motivate in the field. I believe so for example I am just telling you one thing. I am the dean academics of this NUT University, and it is one of the leading university nowadays. But we never call these programs, this say hospital management, or say we are having hospital management, we are having physiotherapy, we are having vision or vision science, or the optometry, clinical psychology. We never say that's a paramedical course. We say this is the health science. We say this is a courses on health science. So that is a way we should modify ourselves to put some kind of dignity to them in these professions. And maybe one upon a time it wasn't used by many people that technician. But this has come. We are progressing. Now we are just entering into another facets of that industrial revolution, that is fourth industrial revolutions, and where artificial intelligence will be acting on on our human body. And there is a 3D printing is coming up, and a lot of changes are coming up. So why will be telling these things? So I believe say to the particular person who has putting this question, I should say that days will come, and probably people will be saying medical technologist, and I'm very sure that it is not so far. So very soon you'll be getting that term, that medical technologist, instead of calling it technician.
I assure you 100%, sir. It was definitely, you just hit a point. Definitely being running an institute, we should also talk to the universities. We should also talk to our state medical faculty how this name to be changed. Rightly you have pointed out.
Thank you. So this is the way, anyway. So the next questions, you can see that, sir, if you do not pass 12 science, then can you get any, entry in, paramedical science? So,
Can I come in for a minute?
Please, please.
You see, what is there in a name? We can also call them paramedical governors.
Right.
So long we do not improve their condition, improve their education, merely changing the name from the technician to the technologist will not change the world or their
Correct, sir,
condition.
you're correct. You're correct, sir. So,
In USA,
Mhm.
the nurse paramedicals are called nurse anesthesiologist, anesthesia technician.
Right.
You will be surprised to see their capability, and you will see the surprised to see the capability of my anesthesia technician.
Yes. Even
So-
if you see, even if you go in US, you'll find that, the efficiency and status of, paramedics in that country, and they are, so empowered, they're so empowered, and they're having a lot of, facilities, their salaries, maybe, maybe at least, 10 to 12, times more than what our, country is offering.
No, but you don't get that diploma also very easily.
Yes.
You have to be really trained to get that designation.
Correct. You're correct.
He is very confident what he knows, and he does it, and he shows you doing it well on the ground. I have seen. I am the principal of a private medical college. I know. I get so many technicians. I know their level. So this side also needs to be improved.
Yes, correct. You are rightly said that, proper, guidelines should be there. And today, as of now, what I can realize that there is no standard in the curriculum, for any particular, paramedical course. Like, say, for example, emergency medical technician. In different university or different society, they are running this particular program and on their self-made, curriculum. So there is a lot of disparities. Somebody is not covering a particular aspect. Somebody is, giving, double dose of a particular, aspect. So this should not be the case. I believe there should be some, uniformity in the curriculum, and regulatory body is much essential in this, field to regulate that entire curriculum and other things to make the things, far better. So I'll be, asking, the next, question. So I'll be going to Dr. Banerjee. So Dr. Banerjee, so what do you think, so what are the things that should come in place, to give this particular profession a different, kind of, what I can say status, that they should enjoy some kind of, what I can say dignified, world. So what do you think, what is your opinion in this field? What the government should take, what are the steps the government should take, or maybe if I ask simply that what are the different, things that your suggestion, if you want to put forward to the government, what is the criteria that you'll be putting in?
Sir, actually, first of all, I would like to say that in last few years, we have, before this COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen immense growth, robust growth in Indian healthcare sector due to medical tourism. The greatest advantage of Indian healthcare is, usually they say that it is now the private organizations, even for public health sector, the infrastructure is many a time matching with the global standards, and also the importance, the affordability. It is very cheap, nominal cost at the same healthcare in respect to European or American countries. But what we forget, another important thing in Indian healthcare, the beauty, is its efficient manpower. The manpower does not only mean the doctors, but the paramedical staff, who with a very meager salary can do wonders. And we everyday experience, either it is in the laboratory or in the hospital healthcare setting. Because how much time we can give to a patient being a doctor, but maximum time the patients get in contact, get in touch with the paramedical staff.
Absolutely
However,
right. You are absolutely
as
right.
Professor Sir Pradeep has said, they are most neglected. The thing is, government first do, sir, remuneration is a different issue. But the first and foremost thing, what I personally believe, that academics, there is no encouragement in view of symposiums, CNEs, etc. How many organizations, be it public or private, arrange for paramedical staff oriented CNEs or symposiums or workshops? It is all for doctors or the specialty healthcare. So first of all, we have to encourage them, and we have to realize that all that you are also important. First, this field should come, and second is the remuneration. So the disadvantage of Indian health sector is everything is unorganized, fragmented, 70 or 80%. So this urban unorganized or fragmented sector, they should come together. They should be organized first, and the awareness of the quality, training of the manpower, appropriate training, that should be uniform throughout the countries. In my state, West Bengal, the state medical faculty is really trying hard, and there is a standard operating procedure bulletin, and also the syllabus is fixed for DMLT courses. But I have been in Mumbai since a long time, or some other states also. There maybe that is little not very good in some states. Even my states may improve a lot, but I am saying there is no uniformity. And in my state, around 68 private and public organizations are at place who can give this paramedics training, authorized, government authorized training centers. But in many states, even in my state, in West Bengal, there are many unauthorized courses and people are getting misguided. So first of all, second thing, apart from arranging for CME symposium, government should openly publish what are the organized, authorized, government approved paramedic course organizers. Because people do not know, and I feel very sorry when a person comes for an interview and I see that he has or she has done a course from an unauthorized center but has spent lots of money, lakhs of money. So this kind of lack of awareness cannot be tolerated, and government has a great role to make people aware and advertising those things, that these are the courses and these are the authorized centers. So number one, CME, number two, this awareness program, and number three is training and also the remuneration aspect, so that people feel that yes, there is an importance of this course, and we can, at least we can bread and butter if I get into this kind of job.
Right.
Sir Nirla, can I come for a minute?
Yes. Dr. Patnaik, please.
Yeah. I will request all the popular doctors like cardiologists, nephrologists, rheumatologists, surgeons, when you go to attend a workshop, you take one or two of your paramedicals along with you. If they also learn about the new techniques and new procedures, when you as a team come back from the workshop, your skill will improve. We normally neglect them. We don't take them. We don't include them in the conference. We don't include them in the workshop.
Rightly said, Dr. Patnaik. No, in fact, unless and until the doctors are thinking that it's a teamwork.
Yes.
In fact, unless we are convinced ourselves that it's a teamwork and they are the integral part of the team, without them we cannot run the show.
We always keep on talking in the surgical conferences that it is a teamwork, but we forget the team players when we go to attend a workshop.
Absolutely.
You must take your two paramedical technicians in each conference so that they also know their part and you learn your part.
Exactly. So time has come to change our mindset,
Yes.
that otherwise, we cannot grow. So if this particular domain grows, we will be growing with them. So we need to take this
Yes.
kind of consciousness in our mind. So
And you see, not only they will feel elated, they will feel that you are giving them due importance.
exactly.
They will learn something, they will see a new place,
Right.
they will see that my boss is giving me importance, and
Yes.
your skill, doctor's skill will also improve.
And you'll see that output will go, goes, maybe double.
Yeah,
If you do the
10 times.
recognition. Yes, that's a psychological kind of, effect.
Yes.
And if
That's
you
why
do
I
it-
actually intended to say that encouragement in this form of CME symposium, they should feel first that we are required in the healthcare sector. They are being utilized, but they should also realize that yes, they are how much important. In my organization, Suraksha Diagnostic, we are since 2016, we are doing this DMLT, conducting these DMLT courses. And apart from the regular syllabus, which is mandatory, this number of trainings, we are also arranging some extra trainings, additional trainings for them. And we are trying to absorb them, almost 100% absorption even on the since last 2 years. We have absorbed, and then they understand, yes, then this is the importance with a reputed lab.
Now, when you go to attend a conference in Jammu or Jaipur or Ahmedabad, you take them along there. You see the output after that.
Yes, you're
Okay.
right. You're right. You're
Hey,
right.
Professor Nila, you have to excuse me. I have to go and attend a COVID meeting. And thank you very much. I have to take excuse.
Okay, Dr. Patnaik, thank you for your, sharing the views. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we'll continue with Dr. Das. Dr. Das, there is a question the question came from Ms. Shonali Das. She mentioned that opportunities of dietitian. If you just suggest what are the different opportunities for a dietitian programs. So Dr. Das.
Yeah, see, one good thought about once Theocritus said us, let
Yes.
food be the medicine, and let medicine be the food.
Right.
So if you do not take a proper food, then it will not act as a medicine. And the role of a dietitian is to pinpointly tell a particular subject or a particular patient what to take and what to avoid. This thing is very critical apart from the mainstream treatment, apart from taking all those medicines and all. Food should be taken in a very scientific way. We as a common man, we do not know what are the various nutraceutical benefits each and every vegetable, fruit and cereal or legumes they contain. As a layman, we don't know. But if a dietitian, if you go to a dietitian, then they have that knowledge that what to eat in what type of condition, and which may improve your general well-being. Apart from taking the medicine, this will also help. So the scope of a dietitian is a very immense in the sense that today we have become much more conscious about our health. But on the other hand, we do not know what type of food we must take. So to remove this gap, if someone is helping us, which is in the form of a dietitian, I find the scope of a dietitian in today's modern society immense, because we are moving toward, or we want a very healthy lifestyle, and a single person is not in a position to make ourselves in a very good position until and unless we take the help of someone. So when we get ill, we move to a doctor. Now, why not we are going to a dietitian to remain healthy for lifelong, and choosing what type of food I must take and what type of food I must avoid. So, yes, if anyone is doing a dietitian course, I must say that the scope is immense first. Then there are some government job like a food inspector. So a dietitian has doing course in a dietitian or a bachelor in dietitian can go for all those type of career options. And overall, dietitian from today's context carries much more importance as per with the doctors as well.
Correct. So, Dr. Das, you have nicely pointed out that the importance of a dietitian, and there is a course called dietetics, or medical nutrition. Many university has given a name, maybe clinical nutrition kind of things. And nowadays it is mandatory for every hospital to keep this dietetics specialist, because there is a huge need of just to measure the calorie intake of each and every patient, especially when the patient is suffering from diseases like, say, diabetes or something like that. And India is
kidney disorders. Means when a patient is suffering from kidney disorder, we sometimes do not know.
Yes, correct.
We do not know what is with the protein intake.
Right. So their role is enormous, and there is no doubt that they also should be included in this particular movement for getting that particular what I can say recognitions. And so I think that is for that Shonali. And next we'll be going to Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul, if you say something about the prospect of MHA program, that's a question that what is the prospect of MHA from again that student Shonali Das, opportunities in MHA field. So your institute is running that particular MHA program. So Dr. Paul, if you just give the reply to this question.
Yeah. So I'll reply whatever comes in terms of ophthalmology. Our calculation is as such: 15% of the staff should be in the managerial rank. They are from the hospital administration, right? So if I deal with 100 colleagues, out of this, the 15 is there are the hospital administrators, and a good number. Definitely, if they have the background of the hospital administration, there will be win-win scenario. So this is in the private sector, but that also applies to in terms of your government sector. Government is also nowadays taking things are in very professional way, starting from primary health setup to even to the tertiary health setup, even to the medical colleges. So there is a huge opportunity of the hospital administrator, whatever kind they do come. Then third and important part is in the industry itself. So industry, when I say, when it is related to your health industry, any kinds of product, be it device or be it pharmaceutical. So there is also an immense opportunity for the administrator to work in. So roughly, if we say when we do run this organization, honestly speaking, we seek for good administrators. Still, there is a huge lack.
Correct. So wonderful. So with this, I want to add something, because I was, the head of, hospital administration for almost, say 20 years in NSHM, as well as presently I'm also heading in New York University. And if you see my background also, I have studied health system management. So just to add these things, say, Shonali, you have rightly, pointed out these questions, say in a hospital, you'll find that the good doctors are good surgeons, good paramedical staff. And apart from that, if you see, it's a business organization nowadays. Say, especially the private or corporate kind of hospitals, they're nothing but business organizations, and the need of some kind of sophisticated planning and implementation of that planning in the system. Ultimately, revenue generations everywhere. There is some kind of need of a what you can separate some kind of parameter that can help in organization to grow further economically, and as well as by its in other way. So if you see that rightly Dr. Paul mentioned that the government also initiated one measure. The government is taking this postgraduates in the hospitals, and they have created a position called assistant superintendent non-medical, and they are getting a good salary as well. And in all corporate hospitals, there are a huge number of vacancies on this particular hospital administrator and the kind of positions, and they are doing really good. Even I can name few of the hospital administrators, or even MHA postgraduates. They are at the top, sitting at the top. Maybe they are today the director or the CEO kind of positions in number of multi-specialty hospitals. So there is enormous what I can say potentiality for this particular programs. So it is a good programs of what I can say in very short. Anyway, so the next things that our viewers are asking that what is medical technology, and why emergency medical technology is not getting good momentum. So Dr. Banerjee, can you answer this question? Why medical technology is not getting enough momentum?
Medical technology, as I already told, there are lots of opportunities. The Indian healthcare sector caters to a population of billions, 130 almost. So the thing is, the problem is that this healthcare sector is not uniformly available in all the rural or metro cities like that. Most of them, the organized sectors are concentrated in the metro cities or urban areas. So first of all, government now during this COVID-19 pandemic, they are now realizing the importance of healthcare, and now there are many setups have been laboratory or small hospitals have been set up in a very faster way in these peripheral areas also. But what is important is awareness, lack of awareness, as I already told. The importance of these medical technologies or whatever in the critical care or emergency medicine or in laboratory, people are not aware. So now during this COVID-19 pandemic, many people have now, we are now realizing the importance, but this should be highlighted through YouTube or whatever, all the propaganda, the publicity that should be there by the government, and they should be motivated to come to the course, because see, during this COVID-19 pandemic, what we have realized, that there was no such health insurance scheme from government.
Correct.
So medical insurance, Mediclaim, those some facilities should be there. Except the ESI, there is no such organized things that people can. This
And unfortunately, our country is also not having any kind of social insurance, just like
insurance. Yes. So why people will be interested to come to? If you are getting a salary of 15,000 or 10,000, and there is no such insurance and anything, and also in the private sector, you may be thrown out in a days or 10 days notice due to anything. So what is the government should have a great role in this thing. They should be there is, as you rightly said, social security or in the form of medical insurance. Those things should be there, the basic amenities, and there should be a minimum pay scale in the government sector that is there, but in private sector that is not there. So in good organizations, there is a, like in laboratory, there is junior scientific officer, senior scientific officer. These scalabilities are there. So throughout all laboratories or hospitals, there should be a hierarchy, and there should be a definitely as per their
absolutely right,
and capability.
Yes.
So that they can get a minimum pay. Otherwise, these things cannot. People will not be attracted to come to this line. Because in most of the DMLT courses are 2 years or 3 years after a 6 months rotatory internship. After doing all this, if we are not getting a minimum pay scale without any medical or without any other benefit like conveyance, etc., then people will not get interested, and there will be no momentum. So I think even the doctors, we are the supervisors, we are in the management level also. We should also have a talk with our CEOs and management authorities so that a minimum pay scale can be ensured throughout uniformly in any sector, whether it is public or private.
Correct. So we'll be going to the next question of one your audience has mentioned. That what is the prospect of pharmacy? I think that is is the right question for Dr. Das. So Dr. Das, what is the you describe the career about pharmacy?
See, as Dr. Patnaik sir was saying that like medical field, they have Medical Council of India, nurses, they have Nursing Council of India. We, the pharmaceutical technologists, or with the pharmaceutical, they have also to have a council called
Pharmacy Council, right?
And that is being our profession throughout the India is regulated by PCI, and our job is safeguarded by PCI. We receive a certificate that do carry a value. As we know that this subject holds a good prospect. First of all, I should say, either it be diploma, or either it be B.Pharm, or either it be M.Pharm. We have a lot of job opportunities first. Now, if I want to divide the opportunity in the form of academia and in the form of industry, there I can also find that most of the people, after completing B.Pharm, they get absorbed in pharma companies. They get good job salary out there also, as Dr. Rakesh sir was saying, that we must ensure a minimum good salary for the health workers and all the allied health professionals. And in that sense, I would like to say that we, the pharmacists, the B.Pharm student or the B.Pharm graduate, are handsomely paid in this regard, because our right is being protected by PCI. And apart from pharma job, there are different type of quality assurance job, quality control job. Then we do find very good placement in the form of medico marketing. Then we do find a very good placement in the form of your this quality assurance in pharma industries. So the job prospect is immense. Then we can find our placement in regulatory affairs job. Most of the pharma companies, when they want to sell the medicine to the outside countries, so there has to be a person who must be looking in the regulatory aspect of the selling and buying thing. So regulatory affair is one of the good prospects for a pharma graduate. Apart from that, we find placement in IPR cell also, intellectual property rights. In those departments, we have our job opportunities. Now, we know that the healthcare sector in India is booming. It will grow. It will not go down. It will not find a downslide. Okay, it will always be in a high state. So in that sense, I would like to say that our future is safe. Means the pharmaceutical field is safe. Since I said so, I must give you some statistics that last year the overall contribution of pharma market to the overall GDP of India is almost more than 35%. So from this data, we can see what is the contribution of a pharma market to the Indian economy, and we will be the contributor in that pharma market. We, the pharmacist, will be the contributor in that pharma market, and we will be going to that market itself for job or to develop the pharma market. So we will be linked with the entire economy of the country. So this is a very positive sign for our pharmaceutical technologies, that we will be contributing in the growth of Indian economy. And when we contribute in the growth of Indian economy, our growth will be there, because everything is linked. The economy growth, once the economy is growing, we will also grow simultaneously. So right. So we have immense job opportunity in pharma field, and I must encourage the student, the bright mind, to come to pharma field. And this pandemic has shown a path that we must research upon new molecules, new leads, and we, the pharmaceutical technologists, we do enter R&D sector of pharma, and we are doing the research out there to find the new vaccines, new drugs, new leads. The doctors are there to assist us with the clinical data, and we can change we can modify the lead, modify the vaccine molecule accordingly as per the need of the patient, and the information has been supplied by the doctors. So we also play a very important role, a pivotal role in the development of new molecule, new drug, new vaccine. So student, I must encourage you to learn pharmacy, to explore the prospect of pharmaceutical technologies, and there are good universities and good colleges out there in India. You can learn pharmacy from there to have a better good prospect in pharmacy. That I would like to say.
Right. So, Dr. Das, there is another question for you. I think this is also very pertinent to you, because the question came from Mr. Bhaskar Mukherjee. He is saying that after passing out from various universities and institute, students are not getting in the West Bengal Paramedical Council registration. Only from State Medical Faculty of West Bengal students are getting that registrations. It is not injustice. So, what is your view?
Come again, I didn't get your question, sir, please.
It is the question is from Mr. Bhaskar Mukherjee. He's saying that many people, after passing out from different universities, they're not getting that West Bengal Paramedical Council registration. That is, they're not getting that registration certificate or registration number. But in contrary to that, State Medical Faculty of West Bengal students, they're getting the registration easily.
No, sir. Actually, I will be not the right person to comment on that. But what I can say is that for us, means for the pharmaceutical technology, the pharmacy people, all the students they are getting registration from West Bengal Pharmacy Council of India. And recently, I contacted them for the current COVID situation. The registration process is in halt actually, because for us to get the registration, we need to go for a 2-day training. Okay, so the 2-day training is now being halted because of this current situation.
Okay.
But the situation is not like that. I haven't that knowledge, sir, actually.
Okay, so Dr. I asked this question because you and me are from two different universities, so that is the reason. Anyway, let me try to answer this question on my own. See, wherever this Mr. Bhaskar Mukherjee, this, for West Bengal, Paramedical Council registrations, that the university or the college, they need to get registered themselves beforehand. Right, it has started very new. This West Bengal Paramedical Council, these things, they started very new in 2015, December 31st, they started. And if they are getting, the registration, if the university is registered, with them, then there should not be any kind of problem. Even if they're not registered, they can pursue that, things to the, current, council of West Bengal. And I believe, with this persuasion, they can get that, registrations easily. But till now, it was not so mandatory to get this registrations. But the coming days, it may be, so-called mandatory for every paramedical, persons, to get, that particular certificate for doing any kind of practice or any kind of business on his domain. So,
Dr. Niraj sir, I would like, I would like to comment.
Yes,
actually,
Dr. Banerjee.
State Medical Faculty of West Bengal is the only authorized, actually, they are conducting the courses of these almost 13 courses, including DMLT, DRD, and diabetic care, etc. So, if somebody goes to their site, State Medical Faculty smfwb.in, so there is a procedure of the universities or these other organizations to get registered with them, as you said. So till date, around 68 universities, private and public, like Suraksha, Neotia, Apollo, and all the medical colleges in West Bengal, they are already authorized by State Medical Faculty under agencies of West Bengal government to conduct these courses. If you do, as I told in my first initial half of this session, that if you do the courses from other universities, not organized, not authorized by State Medical Faculty, you may face this kind of problem. So please check from the website which are the universities or websites which are actually approved by government. Because nowadays in NABL, NABH, which are the accreditation agencies in different hospitals, laboratories, they also are very much aware of the and very much concerned about the competency of the person, not only in the form of your work at bench level, but the certificate, the training certificate. So if you want the registration, Clinical Establishment Act 2017 is also very strict about it. So it is better that you do the courses from government approved agencies or universities, and if you are not, please check with the website.
Right. So every university or every college, before running this kind of programs, they should get this registration for themselves first, and they should have that facilities that are requisite by what I can say, prerequisite qualifications and facilities within their system to run this kind of program. So the student will not face any kind of this kind of situation of not getting that registration certificate after passing out from that university or that colleges. So that is mandatory for every university and every colleges. That's good. Okay. So now in the next phase, probably we have given many of the answer of different questions. In the next phase, we'll be going to another area of this healthcare healthcare domain. That in coming days, there is the fourth industrial revolution is coming up. And if you see that that first industrial revolution in around 1763 or so, with the invention of steam energy, or and the second one was with the automations and by electricity generations. The third one was the semiconductor and supercomputer or computing, and the fourth one is coming up and is largely large impact on healthcare itself. Even that changes will be within. That means that now the effect on our health itself. That means I want to mean that probably that with the use of 3D thinking, probably artificial bones you can insert when there is the need of change of your hip or maybe any kind of bones. So now, do you think, my questions to the entire panel, do you think that the technology is coming up in such a way in coming days, and probably they may create a different kind of positioning of their domain in healthcare field. So my first question to Dr. Pal, if you just answer these questions, because of this the fast change of what you can say the technology, and probably they will come that the technology will supersede everything. Maybe even there is a doubt. I am not just trying to make any particular domain or particular profession inferior, but it is my own perception that technology will supersede everything one day, and medical technology will be one of them. So, what is the opinion, Dr. Paul?
Sir, first I must congratulate you, thank you, because you gave me the privilege to answer this question first.
Great.
So just I remind you one thing. When we were students, there was something came, if the computer comes, everything gone. Today in 2020, when in every sphere the computer is there, not a fool can say how many folds your the job opportunity has increased. No one can deny. Now coming to artificial intelligence, honestly speaking, the domain is changing, but when we talk about the transactions, when we talk about the intervention, when we talk about the business, that probably going up few 100 folds. Now see, if I give you one example, I am an ophthalmologist, so my primary intention is to see whether a patient is developing a cataract or somebody needs a glass, a mere and reading pair of glass. These two simple examples I am taking. Now, what we do, how do we diagnose cataract? By having our brain goes through an image, we see through illuminating microscope that this is a cataract. But with the help of artificial intelligence, as I understand, by few seconds time, if the screening is there, few millions of the data has passed through, and it will correctly diagnose that yes, you do have a cataract. This is number one. Number two, when we do come for the spectacles, mere and reading spectacles, the same applies in case of cell phone, that yes, I can measure this is normal, this is abnormal. So when it comes when a consumer can really identify that this is an abnormal, then question comes about the supply, how do I get it? So number 2 point is this, probably the newer technology, especially the artificial intelligence, will increase the accessibility, it will increase the affordability, it will increase as a whole, acceptability. Why I say acceptability? The reason is this, there will be a communication network when we are thinking of virtually sitting in this classroom today. We can access the entire globe. We are talking about that we have a huge number, 130 crores. So just imagine if this 130 crores gets access, and if we just go on a simple, for last 15 years, track the development of cell phone and simple technology, how it is being used. So the impact of cell phone in healthcare, probably not only few times, I will say few 100 times, the opportunity will be increased. So that's a boon, I should say. Thank you.
Right.
You may contradict. I don't know. This is
no. I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely, I agree with you. And I believe the days are coming. When there will be a lot of opportunities, full of opportunities in medical field. Another new technology is coming up, and that is the Internet of Things. And nowadays, people are calling it, in a different way, that Internet of Medical Things or Internet of Health Things. That means that you can remotely control your patients who is far off from your hospitals, and probably that will be helping us in minimizing the healthcare cost. And if this is true, and if it is really coming up in existence, probably that will give some kind of new that will be taking a new kind of domain, and a lot of people will be involved in this process, apart from the mainstream doctors and nursing staffs. And probably that will be creating a lot of revolutions in the medical field. And this paramedical staff will be one of the important facets in this particular transition, because without them, it may not be possible. So tracking this information, analyzing this information, and putting and instructing the computer, many things that should be governed by this paramedical staffs or paramedical professionals. So that will be creating a lot of job opportunities for paramedical professionals in coming days. And I'm very confident that India will be leading this particular role, because Indian government has taken a lot of initiatives already in artificial intelligence and the Internet of Medical Things. And there are a lot of researches are going on. And I'm very sure that the benefit goes to the next generation paramedical staffs, and that the people who will be joining this particular field will be getting that immense benefit. Anyway, so the next, I'll be taking a next, question. There are a lot of questions are coming up. The question is that some from Mr. Vishwanath Kaur. Sir, after passing high school in arts, department arts in a stream, I want to mean that doctor, I have done DMLT from some college. Can I go vision technology course now? So after DMLT, diploma in medical lab technology, can anyone go for vision technology course? I think Dr. Pal, you again can give this answer of this because you're running this vision technology.
That's very interesting. So that's very interesting. I don't know about the GMLT. I don't have that much of idea about this X-ray, ultrasound, etc. But this particular course, when I am talking about the vision assistance, there are two streams are available. One with the local university that they accept arts, means humanities as in subject. But when it comes in terms of NSDC, they do undertake only the science. This is one of the limitations. And our experience in the last 4 years, which is most important, I mentioned you that is in self-employment scheme. And by 6 months time to earning 30, 40, 50, 60,000 rupees, it's a matter of, time only. So there is no harm, sir. If you wish to join, vision assistance course, you are most welcome. You can visit our website, this.org, and I showed you, how you can go send an inquiry. You send, you'll get the immediate response. Thank you for asking this beautiful question.
Right. So next question, I'll be putting it to Dr. Banerjee. The question is from Mr. Shaptarshi Mandal. Mr. Shaptarshi Mandal has mentioned that what is the opportunity of operation theatre technologist? What is the opportunity of operation theatre technologist?
Thank you for the question. Obviously, the operation theatre technologies, if it is done from recognized authorized course, I am repeatedly stressing on this fact that it is
it should be recognized. Yes.
Then they can be absorbed in starting from very small nursing homes, small hospitals, private sectors, definitely, and even subsequently with experience. And if they don't forget to take the experience certificate from the current organization, they can also go further. I mean, in corporate giants, even good hospitals in Kolkata or outside also, they can be absorbed. In public sector, obviously, this kind of opportunities come only when the state government really issues some advisories or appointment hiring notification. Only then that can be available. But initially, he or she can join the private organizations, and subsequently, when this kind of advertisement from government, they can also try in the public sector. The pay scale is not, I do not have any direct experience, but at the same time, it is not very bad also. You can start initially at around 20,000, and subsequent, depending on the organization, the scale, how big is the organization, and you can subsequently reach higher scales also. So it is a good opportunity, I think.
Right. Okay. So the next question is related to physiotherapy. Dr. Das, are you in a position to reply this question? The question is, which one is better? It is the DPT, that is a diploma in physiotherapy, or bachelor in physiotherapy? And is the physiotherapist are paramedics or healthcare professionals? Yes or no?
Sir, first of all, I would like to take the question that which one is having more better career option, whether diploma or bachelor. I would like to say if one is seeking for a better career growth, it's better to go for the bachelor degree.
Correct.
Right. So either it in the term of the salary, that remuneration, rather to say, that they will be received will definitely vary if someone is going for a bachelor degree, because the job scope increases when you go for a bachelor degree. And the next question, second question, sir, please come again.
Second question is the physiotherapist are paramedics or not, or healthcare professionals?
They are paramedics in the sense, for example, when a patient if a patient faces an accident, he will definitely go to a doctor to get the thing right. But after that, the situation which the patient will be traveling or suffering through will be addressed by a physiotherapist to make the patient workable, mobile for the rest of his days. He has visited the doctors, okay. The treatment he got received, okay. But who will guide him that what to do, what not to do? So obvious, of course, this is a paramedical course that I must say, and it's one of the important component of health science, physiotherapy. We must not overlook, or we must not belittle this profession, because it is one of the noble profession, and it actually will help a patient to regain his physical ability and stability. I must say, sir.
Correct, correct. So with this, I'll add, with this, Mr. Arindam Sheth, yeah, I hope your question has been answered properly. If you want, I can add something, say in Nyote University, we are having this BPT, the Bachelor of Physiotherapy, and see, a lot of students who have done this, diploma in physiotherapy, that joining there, as is a, what I can say, that in the second year, what I can say, the lateral entry through the method of, lateral entry. So if you do, if you come through this particular program, that Bachelor of Physiotherapy, there is a prospect that you can go for even master degree, you can go for research work or like PhD or kind of things. So both are good, but BPT has the scope in BPT is much more, and all our healthcare professionals. There is no doubt on this, and probably that yesterday was the World Physiotherapy Day. That is 8th September, and all over the world it has been celebrated, nicely. So it is a very good course. You can obviously think for this particular programs, and we already Dr. Das mentioned that the bachelor degree is better than even diploma if you want a fast growth career or a better job opportunity. So the bachelor degree is better than diploma kind of program.
Professor Niloy, sir, I would like to one thing.
Right,
If anyone pursue PhD on this physiotherapy, then he might also integrate biomedical engineering along with all this physiotherapy study in his or her PhD, because prosthetic arms preparation and all those robotic type of thing, we do take help from the physiotherapist persons, those who have opted for PhD and all those things. So it's a better option that if you go for a bachelor degree, then you can pursue PhD, and from there you can go for biomedical engineering field. It's a very vast field, it's a very good field, and it's a very opportunity, full of opportunities there in biomedical engineering. And the scope of a bachelor doing a physiotherapy is immense. I must add this, sir.
Correct. Now, next question is from Mr. Shubir Pradhan. Mr. Shubir Pradhan has asked that what are the opportunity of nursing? Can you, please tell about? So first of all, this nursing is not coming under paramedical program, although there is a lot of good opportunities in this particular profession, and the huge demand of Indian nursing staffs even in other countries as well, and this is a nice profession. There is no doubt. So as it is not coming under this paramedical domain, so we are not taking it further, but it's a nice one. That much we can say. Then another questions that is already we have answered, that what is the prospect of B Pharma. Dr. Dash nicely had said, the prospect of B Pharm and pharmacy already. Then again the same questions, what is the prospect of nursing? Again same questions, what is the career after B Pharma? I think Dr. Dash, you want to add anything more on about the career of after B Pharma? Dr. Dash, want to add anything more?
Sir, if you give me permission, I need to share a screen, sir. If you give the permission to share a screen, sir.
You can, you can spend maybe maximum 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, 2-3 minutes. 2-3 minutes.
Please, no problem.
2-3 minutes. So is it visible?
Yeah, it is coming up. Not really. No, it is not visible now.
Okay, let me say that yes, there are. I'm just saying without sharing. Yes, there are a lot of scope. I will just name the field. Rather, like that, first field that we can go for is the production and manufacturing, then formulation development, quality control, quality assurance, drug regulatory affairs, packaging technology, research and development. Then we can explore our career scope in hospital pharmacy. Then we can find our scope in academics. Then we can find our scope in medical marketing. Then we can find our scope in government job in the form of drug inspector, drug controller, and government chemist and bench chemist or bench government analyst. Then we can find a good job scope in the form of drug regulatory bodies. Then we can find a very good job opportunity in the form of forensic pharmacy. We can find job as a pharmacist in armed forces. Then Indian oil corporations, all the major players of healthcare that we are talking about, like your major hospital like AIIMS, then Armed Force Medical College, all these organizations, they seek for some good pharmacists, and they do look for a person having diploma or a bachelor degree in pharmacy.
Yeah.
So the job scope of pharmacy is huge, as I was saying, and there are 14 to 16 sub branches of job. I mind my term. There are 14 to 16 sub branches of job that we can go for after pursuing B Pharm or M Pharm or diploma. And there are two websites called www.gpatindia.com and pharmatutor.com. If you visit those sites, I'm telling that to the students and the audience, if you visit these two sites, on a regular basis, you will be finding government jobs in the form of pharmacists, or government job in ESI hospitals, or government job in the form of drug inspector or food inspector. Okay, so the job scope is immense.
Yeah, there is a question related to this, that it is mentioned that what are the prerequisite qualifications to be a drug inspector? So if we just answer this.
Yes, I will answer it. First of all, you should do your B Pharm from a PCI recognized university or a college first. Second is that you need to have an industrial experience for more than 18 months. Maximum you need to have a 2 years of industrial experience, where in industry you are working as a QC chemist or in a production house or in a production floor. So after having this prerequisite requirement of 2 years of industrial experience, then you can go for drug inspector exam. It takes place in national level as well as it takes place at state level. Okay, so there is UPSC exams are there. You have to clear those UPSC exam, and after clearing, you will be placed in different region of India as a drug inspector. So the two prerequisite thing is that 2 years of industrial experience and B Pharm degree from a PCI approved college or university. Sir.
There is another question. I think, Dr. Banerjee, you can, give the answer that Mr. Musid Alam, he is saying that I am a DRD, that is diploma in radio diagnosis student under, SMFWB. Please tell something about this DRD course and its prospect.
Diploma in Medical Radio Diagnosis (DRD) courses are being conducted by under State Medical Faculty of West Bengal, and this is really a good course actually. Many not only hospitals but also private laboratories, which like our Suraksha, we are also conducting this DRDO course, and because we have X-ray, CT scan, MRI, etc. So for all these equipment to run smoothly, we need technologists, medical technologists. And so, as I told earlier, that around 20 students last year were admitted, and all those were absorbed by our organization only. Because in our Suraksha has almost 40 centers, 40 centers throughout Kolkata, and all have minimum USG, and some have, the bigger centers have MRI, and CT scan, middle size center have CT scan also. So there is a huge prospect, and not only like us, there are many corporate chains, many good laboratories like Suraksha, SRL, Lalpat, Thyrocare, etc., who have not only the pathology test but the radiological test also. So in all these areas, these DRD medical technologies, they can be absorbed, and there is a very good prospect, I think, and he is in the right path.
Right. Dr. Banerjee, there is another question from Ms. Palumi Paul. She is saying, what is the prospect for DMLT course, the Bachelor of Medical Lab Technology?
Yeah, similar actually. DMLT, D for Dragon. DMLT is diploma, and D Bachelor of Medical Laboratory Technology. So the difference is the first one, DMLT is 2 years, and Bachelor of Medicine is a 3 years course. So obviously we have the similar importance she will get, and DMLT courses are good enough. They can be absorbed both in private and public, and I will just highlight one thing, that recently the ESI hospitals in Kolkata and even the West Bengal medical colleges actually, they came up with this hiring, requirement of hiring on the contractual basis for BMLT and DMLT technologies. So they believe me that one of the known BMLT technologies was earning around 25,000 in one of the private laboratories. But when he is going to join that ESI hospital and he will get around 40,000. So what is important now? He came to me and you are asking, sir, it is a 3 months contractual course, so should I join or not? But I told, okay, the health sector, as my colleagues, Dr. Anup or Dr. Ratish has rightly said, that healthcare is going to be more important after this COVID-19 pandemic because people have realized the importance, so it is going to boom. So obviously this contractual service also, they will also be get absorbed permanently in near future because the demand is high. So I think these BMLT, DMLT or MSc MLT, whatever you are saying, all those have a very good prospect in near future.
Correct. There is one question from Shugandha Mondal. She is asking that, sir, she is pursuing this geology honors. So after geology honors, what kind of paramedical course will be suitable for her? Dr. Pal, will you be interested to answer this question? After geology honors, what kind of course she can pursue in paramedical science?
Anything, whatever we are running, she is most welcome for any course. But here the basic prerequisites is 10 plus 2. 10 plus 2 science. So if it is 10 plus 2 starting from optometry, bachelor optometry, diploma optometry, then your vision assistants, potty technician, anything is being.
Right. With this, Dr. Pal, I'll add one thing, Shugandha, that as you are doing this, this geology honors, so after doing this thing, this particular program, you can join this master in hospital administration as well, because there is a master program and the intake is any graduate. Maybe you're having any science, arts, or this commerce background, you can join this particular program which is called master in hospital administration. So they don't have any kind of path that you must have that bachelor degree in hospital management or hospital administration. So it's an opportunity for you as well. Apart from that, as Dr. Paul has said, that you can also join the bachelor of optometry and vision science and other similar kind of program as you wish. So we are just approaching to our end of this program. So if any other important questions comes in your chat box, so I'll focus that to the panelists. Otherwise, let me try to sum up the entire things. If anything, any important things you want to mention or you want to share in this particular platform with Dr. Paul, Dr. Banerjee, or Dr. Das. Any additional thing you want to mention?
Sir, future is bright. There are so
Yes.
many opportunities, but as the time goes on, I believe competition is higher. But as the time goes on, opportunities also maximize. So it's up to candidate. There are so many opportunities. It's nothing like this that
Correct.
somebody cannot do. This is number 1 point. Number 2 point, there cannot be any course or any diploma or any degree, or whether you call it, technician or technologist, whatever terminology you do give it, if you do not excel, again and again I say, if you do not excel, if you do not work, if you are not hard working, this is not going to work. Please.
Yes.
So whatever the course, every syllabus is good. The opportunity is maximum. Of course, the competition is also getting higher, but you have to excel. If you can excel, you can excel in every sphere. Now coming to the second point is this. I know there is an hue and cry always that that people seek for government service. But if we really go on analyzing the government service versus non-government service, in country like India, these are all complementary. So in the beginning of the talk, we are talking about the American system. But sir, please keep in mind, the American health system is almost 100% governed by the insurance. So when we say question of insurance comes, the health price index is really going up. Health price index expenditure is going up. But in a country like India, we don't have a competitive system. We have a corporate system. We have a government system. We have a social system. We have a charity system. So we do work. Every system is complementary to each other, and every personnel in every sphere has some kind of work. It is not necessary that somebody has to have a government job. Until and unless get a government job, that life is gone. It is not like this. And definitely when the question comes, entire process takes its terms. Yes, we appreciate every time that there should be a council for each and every aspect, which will govern not only the standardization, that what form of training will be imparted, which are the places they are eligible for training, who are the people that really who qualifies for imparting the training, also which is Mr. Das was giving a beautiful input, that also covers or that also gives a guarantee about the minimum income, like pharmacy council, if I am not taking wrong. So this is a future course which is to be taken forward. Thank you.
So, Dr. Banerjee, anything you want to add to this particular set of people, or especially our would-be students?
Yeah, I think Dr. Rathi has already told everything, but I repeatedly insist on one thing, that quality. Quality should be actually it is most important. Whatever courses you are going through, please do it from authorized sector, authorized university, and please be aware that when you are doing the course, you give your 100%, so that hard work always stays. There is no substitute of hard labor from wherever you are doing. But if it is a recognized course, first of all, there is a minimum quality is ensured, that is made sure. But whatever your hard work and your dedication, that will definitely pay in future. And there is always a scope of improvement, because the healthcare in India is really is a very good future. Not in India, it's globally actually post COVID-19. So there is lots of hope, lots of expectation. People say that many think that only doctors are everything in the healthcare sector, but it's not. We the doctors are nowhere except the help assistance from the paramedical staff. So it's a teamwork. So we have to realize that government and also should come up to make the courses uniform, to make available to everyone and affordable also. Because we have to think about the different social and economic status which is prevalent in India. Not everyone can spend lakhs of rupees. So there are courses from West Bengal which is around 30,000 also. So it should be affordable. So that is government is in the right direction, I think. And so there are lots of hope, and I really wish all the best to all the participants here, and who are not only already going to the pursuing the course, but also who are planning to take the courses. I'm sure that they will be benefited from this.
Yeah, right. So, Dr. Das, your final input.
Yeah, yes, sir. I will end with a happy note, in the sense that students who want to seek a paramedical career in paramedical or allied healthcare system, your good days are coming, and you will be the one who will be ruling this healthcare sector. As our my fellow panelists said, they were talking about that they will be there when this paramedical technologists or technicians, whatever you say, they will be working in shoulder to shoulder with the doctors, and your future is bright. Your job scope is huge. You will be contributing to the Indians' future healthcare sector. You will be one of the pivotal member of this Indian healthcare sector, I tell you. And with a hope, with a good hope and with a good energy, you must study paramedical and allied healthcare. And as my fellow panelist was saying, that wherever you study from, do have this knowledge from where you are doing your courses. There's a very vital thing, because something on the way, somewhere on the way you may get cheated, and at the end of the course you will find yourself nowhere. Okay, so do keep this in mind. And apart from that, with a happy note, I must say, in this depressing condition of COVID-19, that good days are very soon, and they are coming very soon to you. And you will be the main warrior in this COVID-19, post-COVID-19 pandemic. I must add, sir, at last. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Dash. So ultimately, I will be, ending these things, with a small note, to all the, participants, especially the students. Many a time in my university, in the Ambuja Niyogya University, I used to tell my students that it should be more discipline. The discipline, in the sense, when you will be dealing some human life, that discipline is the ultimate thing for your career development. What is the difference in the genetical, sequential difference between a chimpanzee and a human being? It is just 1% difference. So you can understand that a 1% change in genetical consequence, genetical, configuration can make a person a human or maybe a chimpanzee. So therefore, this discipline is a pivotal things in this particular, domain of paramedical science or health science. Although we call it as a health science in our university. And we always teach the students that discipline is the ultimate thing. And I'm very sure if you put your 100% in this particular domain for your career development, that you will get, satisfied at one point of time. And the days are coming, as Dr. Dash has also mentioned, Dr. Paul and Dr. Banerjee also mentioned, that the days will coming, then probably, you'll be, putting yourself in a different, position. And that it is not so far off. And I believe with the recent development of technologies and all, the paramedical peoples will be positioning them in very high positions in coming days, and there will be getting the satisfaction. And we should not, maybe the days will come. This will be all past to discuss this point, whether it is technician or a technologist, because it is all about mindset. And the days are coming, and the changing is so fast that people will be changing themselves. And you'll be getting, different kind of, status in the society. And already, I can assure that, that those who are working in health field, that they started getting a different, social status already. And people will admire you because of your contribution to the society. Another important thing I should also mention, that the cost of healthcare is spinning out of control of common people. India is such a country, we are, so-called in developing country, but I believe we are in the third world country, and most of the people are under, the poverty line. And when a particular disease needs to be treated, a lot of, hassles a family need to face to just to supply that, fund for his treatment. So it is a humble request to all the would-be, what I can say, by students of this particular domain, that you should keep in mind how we can minimize the cost of medical care or health care, and where is the invention or where is the invention required. So you are the person that you can invent some technology, or you can invent some process that can probably help the common people in our country to get access of, the health care. And that is the thing, ultimate thing. With this, I'll end this particular session. If you have any questions, you can write directly to an APP. Probably you may get some kind of link to to reach them. APP Education. Otherwise, they're having their website also. And if any questions to any panelist, including me, you can come through this APP Education, and we'll be delighted to answer each of your questions with our satisfaction. So thank you very much to all the panelists, Dr. Paul, Dr. Banerjee, Dr. Das, for this their contributions. I believe this contribution will be immensely helping the student of this particular paramedical science or health science. So with this, I'll be ending with a sweet note that best wishes and career is not the ultimate thing. Be a human. Ultimately, career will come to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, Professor Niloy. Thank you, Dr. Anu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Banerjee.
Prof.
And
Thank you, sir.
definitely thank you all these ABP platforms.
Thank you, sir, and stay safe, sir. All stay safe, sir.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you, thank you. You also stay safe, and we'll be handing over to ABP Education. So thank you very much.
चलो